goes. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. He's crazy stuff.
Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through. He tags Richard Beck.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Stafford Motor Speedway in Stafford Springs, Connecticut for another short track racing Saturday night on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Tonight, race 2 of 11 in a 2015 Season 3 championship with Bootleg Racing League's Outlaw Modified Series. Tonight's Edge Auto Concepts 75 is presented by Edge Auto Concepts, specializing in automotive identity design. We welcome you up to the GSRC broadcast booth on this Friday evening alongside myself, Evan Pasoko. As always, is Sean Ambrose. Our director tonight into production hauler, pushing the buttons and getting us on air is Kevin Brown. And as always, the camera sets are provided by Dougie Beard. Sean, the hype of the season opener, 1 week past, may not all be gone with, but now we get really into the heart of this season back at Stafford. Yet again, we saw this track already earlier on in 2015 in Season 1 through Season 2 and so forth. Very fun racetrack to drive at, very flat racetrack, and as always with many of the tracks that we go to, very difficult and unique in its own respect.
Yeah, it is. It's another one of those unique but difficult tracks here in beautiful Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Got to visit this track a few times as a kid. Got to watch my daddy run here, so fond memories of Stafford Springs, home of the SK Modified that these gentlemen will be running tonight. The Arut brothers, Jack and Mark, started this track, Jack and Chuck. Mark runs the track now, but Jack and Chuck opened this track in 1967. Yes, Jack Arut, that's correct. You've heard his name, synonymous with racing, been responsible for the history here at this track, and always been one to try and preserve the great history of the modified. These SKs will have a challenge here tonight. As you said, those turns, there's just not a whole lot of banking there, and almost kind of getting around Indy, if you will, on a much shorter style. But the turns are long and sweeping, and you've just really got to try and stick that car in like the middle of the groove right there. The bottom is not going to help you here. You're going to scuff off a lot of speed. That looks like the fast way around tonight here in the low 20-second range is going to be in that middle groove, Evan.
And right now, the drivers, as always, they're working through their 30-minute warm-up session prior to the drop of the green flag in tonight's event. So now that we've moved on past the season opener, our grid once again going to be set as it will be from now through the end of this championship as the top 8 from last week. They'll be the top 8 on the grid in this one. However, they will be inverted, and then everybody outside the top 8 are new drivers that did not participate next week. 9th on back. Looks like 9th through 16th right now, as 16 drivers have entered. All of them have since put down a time. Their starting positions are going to be determined via the I rating to be able to set the grid for you. But, you look at some of the names. Ronald Henry at the top of the board right now in his number 75 machine. We take a look at some of these machines still on pit road. You see some of the drivers out on the racetrack getting some practice in. Still all normal rules apply for this event. The fixed setups with the 50% fuel cell still are what dictating the race package for these drivers. Double file restarts still in effect. We saw those return just 1 week ago at the paperclip when we were at Martinsville Speedway. Lucky Dog is still in effect, still cannot make any tire changes, and these drivers are still limited to just one fast repair. So Ronald Henry tops the board right now, but we do have a couple of new names in this event here, Sean. Some that we didn't see last week that we've seen, before in this Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series, but as well a couple of names that we're not familiar with.
Yeah, well, James Summers, the number 27 being one of them. Haven't seen James here before. He is looks to be new to the series here in that nationwide modified. James right now at the bottom of that board there here in practice, but make no mistake, things will probably change once this race starts. And James, we welcome him out here tonight. I hope he has a good run.
So through one race, let's take a look back and talk about our last week's results here for the season opener. If you weren't with us, it was the A-Box Mobile Storage 75, Sean, at Martinsville. Always a very exciting racetrack to go to. Quite a fitting place as well to get this championship kicked off. As you see how they sit right now, this is our results in the standings because we're only through one. Matt Chinoski at the top with 14 total accumulated points, and then everybody drops one spot, 1 point per position as you go down through. Nuss, Jewel, Moore, and Knott inside of the top 5. One thing that we do need to mention, though, is that this championship standings and the points, the way they're going to be dished out in the Season 3, are different than what we saw earlier on in Season 2. Just a little bit of modifications and balancing, if you will, in the points. First place walks away with 14, as you see with Shinosky at the top of the pile. Second gets 13. It's 12 points to third, 11th to fourth, 10th to fifth, and 9 points to sixth. From there on out, you're going to go by 3 positions, will get 1 spot. So, for example, 9th through 11th, you're going to be getting 6 points, 12th through 14th, 5 points, and so on and so forth to a maximum grid of 30 drivers, which this is something that we talked about a lot earlier on, especially late in Season 2 and a little bit early in Season 2. Sean, I know we're just getting really this Season 3 championship in 2015 underway, but 1 spot per position inside the top 5. Again, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you looked at how close these guys were going into those final couple of races, especially the last 2 to close out this most previous championship, you may not be thinking about it now. Again, the big thing that we talk about, you can use the Daytona 500 as an example, or even the Indy 500. Both of those events are huge staples within their own series. They're still points races, though. So last week, we talked to some of these guys who really wanted to get their season off to the right start. Our defending champion did not do that. Matt Hoos looking to pick it up as he comes into tonight's race. But, this event, now that you're kind of gotten off of the hype, Sean, of the season opener, these guys really need to know that, okay, it's only race 2, but 4th place, a 4th position tonight versus a 5th position, giving it that little bit extra late. Who knows where that could put you when you come down to race 11, 10, and on when it gets that close.
Well, Shinosky last week, our winner, first-time winner in this series, does exactly what he needs to get off to a great start. And, based on where he's at on the time on the board right now, he's going to be starting in 8th place. So he's going to have a lot of work to do. Really critical for a guy like Shinosky, who wasn't in that hunt for the championship in Season 2. Looking good for him now to start things off. Nuss is going to have to be consistent tonight. He's going to have a lot of work to do starting back there in 7th. So, this championship is critical even in race 2. So, it's a long season, but every race is critical. And, we even Shinosky said last week he wasn't sure if he was going to be here this week. So making these races is just as important as you said there, that points championship. There's not a lot of breathing room there between positions. If you don't make a race, it really could end your season.
As always, do want to keep everybody up in tabs on what's going on the other side of the Bootleg Racing League. Earlier tonight, the Crooksville Late Model Series already has competed, and the race has been completed here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. It was Donnie Moore who took home the checkered flag in that one, leading 74 out of 75 laps over Ernest Brown. Brian Neff, Ronald Henry, and Matt Shinosky finished in the top 5 in that late model race, so that marks up the championship standings in that series as Brian Neff on top of the board by 3 points over Ernest Brown, 4 points over Matt Shinosky in third. Again, most of these drivers, if not all of them, do compete in pretty much both of the series. As this practice session winding down now to the final seconds, do need to give a call and a big thank you to tonight's title sponsor, sponsoring the Edge Auto Concept 75, of course. Edge Auto Concept specializing in automotive identity design, making an immediate and a lasting impression matters. So we'll create a consistent and clear visual identity that aligns perfectly with your brand. Great design is all about getting the right message to the right people in the right way, and that means choosing the appropriate delivery medium. For more information, you can go to edgeautoconcepts.com. Practice in the books. Let's get rocking and rolling for race 2 of 11 in the 2015 Season 3 Championship. The Bootleggers set to do battle in Stafford Springs. Pole position goes to the number 31 machine. That's going to be Mike Holloway on pole position in his Folds of Honor Ford. Starting alongside him in second, the driver that came home second in the late model event just moments ago, the 8 machine of Ernest Brown with Krankenstein Racing starts in second.
And on the second row, Brian Neff in the number 60 Winn-Dixie machine is starting in third tonight on the inside of row 2. Tim Knott just outside of him, starting in fourth. Tim was having a little bit of trouble in practice. I wish him well tonight.
The SPCA New Hampshire number 26 of Donnie Moore is in fifth and sixth position to the title-sponsored machine tonight. It's Edge Auto Concepts on board with the 55 of Full Tool.
Number 13, Ryan Nuss finds himself starting in seventh tonight. Matt Shinosky, last week's winner, starts in eighth.
Dennis Ellis of the A-Box Mobile Storage Machine will start in ninth position, and the 19 of Philip Temples rounds out your top 10.
Matt Hoos brings her in 11th, starting 11th there, and a number 21. David Bodio, new to this series, starts in 12th and a number 16. Brad Speidel starts 13th and a number 76. Ronald Henry, fast in practice, starts 14th. Jeff Rudolph in a number 12 starts 15th tonight, and rounding out the field, another newcomer, James Summers. We talked about him in the pre-race.
So a lot of the big names that we mentioned from just 1 week ago via the grid inversion and whatnot find themselves in the middle of the pack. Let's see how they do battle and if this one may end up in a dominating fashion like the race we saw 1 week ago in Martinsville. The pace car is down and away. We're glad to have you with us as always on the Global Sim Racing channel. The green flag is set to fly at a quarter number 4, and hard on the accelerator goes Mike Holloway. Flag flies down to quarter number 1, and it is old. Words of Honor 4 down through 1 and 2 for the first time in tonight's race. Side by side, second on back, Brian Neff on the inside.
Jewel is around, made contact with Dennis Ellis, and that brings out the yellow flag, Evan.
And big trouble, up and over goes one of the new drivers in this series that started in 16th position, the 27 James Summers Jr. That car is upside down. You're taking a look at the replay. All the contact starts in the middle of the quarter. Lowell Jewell gets some help from behind. And although this incident didn't happen at the front of the field, you saw that as soon as his machine got sideways, there was not a lot of room for anybody to get on by the contact initiated by the number 7 machine of Dennis Ellis, who looked like he tried to shoot a gap. Maybe Lowell Jewell didn't even know he was there. Nonetheless, the 7 had to step it up the hill a little bit. They got sideways, and you know, the 16, the 75, the 12 and company all just come through there, nowhere to go. A lot of them very minor contact, but you saw the 27 locked him up when he was sliding sideways. That car went up and over. He's going to be forced to take a tow to pit road. Even if that machine's not damaged, even if he takes that quick fix, it's going to take him a lot of time to be able to get back off the pit lane, and it's evidently going to put him a couple laps down. Tough break for him. Looks like Dennis Ellis as well falls 1 lap in a negative.
Yeah, and Matt Hoos had nowhere to go on that either, man. He was right down there at the inside, and like I said, just had nowhere to go. They came back across the track. He got a little bit of contact, not seeing any damage on the car. He was able to keep it under control down there in the grass. He went for a spin, but it does shuffle him back to 12th.
So very early on in tonight's Edge Auto Concept 75, do we go to our first caution flag on the evening. Mike Holloway is able to maintain the top spot. No issues for the Quick Trip Ford Fusion at the front of the field right now. His machine will continue to pace us behind the pace car so far. No major movers as far as position-wise under the green flag conditions. The drivers that really got the brunt of the impact, though, were inside the top 10. So the 6th place starter, Lowell Jewell, now finds himself in 14th. Good news for that team, Sean, is he gets the quick fix. He does not fall off at the lead lap. Not so fortunate was the 7 to Dennis Ellis. His machine is on pit road right now. He started 9th. He's 15th, 2 laps in the negative, as well as James Summers Jr. Again, those 2 drivers had to take the tow to the pit lane, so that's what puts them a little bit further behind. But 14 going to be on the lead lap, and the lights are off not only around the racetrack, but as well on top of the pace car. So restart coming up as lap 5 will go in the books.
Yeah, and they go double file again on these restarts, and well, we'll look to see Holloway get that tremendous jump like he did on the opening lap, Kevin.
We're going to see how they do with the pace car is down and away. Mike Holloway, again, going to be in control of this field as they pace through 3 and 4. 50 miles an hour out now. Green flag drops, and we're back into a 60 machine. No challenge. Brian Neff easily in the second. Ernest Brown started there on the drop of the initial green flag. He's since fallen to 3rd. He's the first battle on the racetrack. And contact, Mike Holloway turned from the front of the field. An absolute melee down the back straightaway. The 19 car goes up and over as well. Big damage as Matt Shidowski's on his lane. Caution back out.
Yeah, and Speidel and Henry had nowhere to go either. Lowell Jewell stopped, I think, just in time. I'm seeing a little bit of a bump there in the chrome horn, but I think Lowell made it through that without anything serious.
And for the second time, turns 1 and 2 immediately going to cause trouble, and the car at the front of the field was the first one to go around. Very, I mean, to a description, I guess, similar to what we saw in that first incident, because you saw the replay from overhead. 31 Mike Holloway in the lead, wasn't all the way down to the apron, or what you might consider the apron for the racing groove, which is that big seam on the bottom of the racetrack. You can see where all the rubber is up above that point. The apron, technically not all the way down till you get past that yellow line, but it is flat down there. 31 gave a little bit of room, and just peeking to the inside. Brian Neff didn't even look like that 60 machine was trying to make an aggressive move, just trying to keep it close so maybe he could pull to the bottom down the back, ended up making contact. They went around, and then again, the track was blocked. The 35 got flipped up and over. The 19 did a barrel roll and ended up riding on the hood of the number 16 machine for quite some time down the back straightaway. Heavy hits for a couple of those guys, and at least 3/4 of the field involved in that one. Many drivers now being forced to come down to the pit lane, and once again, we talked about how last weekend's was a dominating performance. Don't want to say it was calm, because we saw a lot of aggressive racing, John, but it's been a while since we've seen a race start as crazy as this one. Your pole sitters already a lap down. Matt Shadowski, Temples, Ellis, Summers Jr., some of the names that as well have fallen into the negatives, and now Ernest Brown goes back to the top spot. A lot of big trouble, though, here early.
Yeah, well, and, Donnie Moore not minding that at all. I mean, Donnie in a really good spot there, sitting in second now, and Donnie, we've seen Donnie be really, really fast in races past. So Donnie, and again in a good spot right there. Matt Hoos makes his way already up to 4th from 11th position. So Matt minding that either. So a couple of guys here really looking to make a statement here in this race, in the second race of the season. I think, tensions are high right now. Guys are anxious to get going, and we're seeing a little over aggressiveness, and that's why we're here lap 10 and already working our second caution.
The 4th place runner as we sit right now is the number 21 Caterpillar Power Plants machine of Matt Hoos. This was one of the big storylines that we talked about 1 week ago, the fact that this driver was the 2015 Season 2, not only just this Outlaw Modified Series, but as well the Crooksteel Late Model Series champion. Had a very poor start in both races, in both events last week. He's looking to try to get that going in the right direction. Tonight started 11th, and looks like he's doing good so far. He's avoided it to be the most part. He's be 4th right now on the outside of row number 2. The base guard down and away, and this time Ernest Brown's Krankenstein Racing, number 8 machine, still on the inside lane, going to be in control for this one. Green flag flies, back underway for the second American Ethanol restart. Side by side, though, a great start for the 26 SPCA machine, and contact Donnie Moore into the 8 car. 3 wide now as they all hang on down the back.
Ernest Brown somehow manages to hang on to that car, keeps it down, stuck on the inside. Donnie Moore up top, trying to make it work there, can't do it. Lowell Jewell seems to be under power. I was a little worried about the toe on the right front of that car, but we see the battle up front here. Ernest Brown doing the best he can to hold off Donnie Moore. He does it off of turn 2, but can he do it down the backstretch? No, Donnie Moore powers his way into turn 3, up in front of Ernest Brown, and Donnie Moore is going to bring it around here. Start-finish line, he's going to be your new leader.
The outside has not been the place to be so far tonight on restarts until that 26 made it work. Ernest Brown, again, the 8 car, started in second to get this race kicked off. He only lost positions from that spot, and he had the inside lane, but it was a 26, a power move. Thought he was clear, came down over the nose, nearly spun it. They all got things sorted out, and since he's gotten clear, he has absolutely set sail. Battle now going to go for the number 2 spot, the 41 machine, Tim Knott. Flying up the inside, going to make it a fight in that Snap-on Club Texas machine. He gets around the 8 car of Ernest Brown. He's bringing that 21. Here comes Hoos.
Here comes Hoos. And now he's even looking to the inside of Tim Knott there. Hoos just having a great run here so far tonight. Ernest Brown stuck up there on the outside. Lowell Jewell gets under him. And now he's looking at giving up another position there to Brian Neff as Ernest Brown stuck up on the top side there with no place to go. Tim Knott doing a really good job right now holding off Hoos, but Hoos is on his bumper, thinking about using that horn maybe early here in the race. Gonna do it right here, going into 1. Gives him a little tap. And again, Lowell Jewell just back there in the driver's seat watching. Has a front row ticket to the action in front of him, Evan.
I'll tell you, that was an aggressive move by that 21 down into quarter number 1. But again, we talked about it. He did not have a good week just 1 week ago in both of the races. Sometimes if it's not coming to you, maybe force the issue and make your own luck. The 21 still is not letting Tim Knott get away. It's about 3 feet separation between the chrome horn, the front end of that 21, and the back bumper of the Club Texas 41er Tim Knott between 3rd and 2nd on the racetrack. As they continue to fight, although they're single file at the moment, it's not allowing them anymore to catch Donnie Moore, the 26 machine. Again, that's the SPCA New Hampshire entry. 8 seconds, nearly the 8/10 of a second out in front of these guys, and might be a second or so more as he continues to be the fastest car on the racetrack at the front of the field. Tim Knott, Matt Houston, you have a little bit of room to fight amongst themselves because 4th on back, catching them at all that great of a rate of speed because they're fighting also. Lowell Jewell has it. The 60 of Brian Neff wants it. That's another fight.
I'm just stuck on this battle right here between Hoos and Knott. Hoos really working him over. Trying, just looking for Knott, and there's the opportunity. Knott gets loose coming off of the turn, and Hoos puts it down there low and is able to take that spot away from Tim Knott. Tim Knott again just getting loose, catching some of the fence, and Lowell Jewell even able to gain a little bit of ground right there.
So now the 21 machine becomes your biggest mover so far in this race. He'll officially go to P2 on the scoring pylon, that time by the start-finish line. The Caterpillar Power Plants machine already gaining 9 spots. And to be fair, a lot of that could be just getting through the wreck. Very good job, but he's got speed on the racetrack. We saw that he was really putting it to Tim Knott, who started inside the top 5 in this race. Now we have to see, now that Hoos is in clean air, what the gap becomes between him and Donnie Moore, as behind them they continue to fight Lowell Jewell, the 60 of Brian Neff. They're still fighting for 4th, but they might even be closing in on Tim Knott now. Very quickly could become a 4-5 car battle here.
Interesting battle going on back here. Is Ernest Brown was trying to hold on the 8th spot, but Jeff Rudolph able to get away from him and take over that spot. Ryan Nuss right there making a move to the inside of Ernest Brown. Ryan Nuss all the way down there on the bottom. Brown up top, and Michael Holloway in the mix. Michael Holloway down there trying to make it work on the inside. He's also taking a position away from Ernest Brown. Ernest Brown, from restarting up front, has somehow just managed to drop back through this field and out of contention right now. Ernest's got to worry about Dennis Ellis in his mirror now also, as Holloway's still stuck down there on the bottom. Nuss pulling away, though, trying to get to Rudolph.
Side by side inside the top 5, and it is not in favor of Lowell Jewell. Finally, Brian Neff was able to get the Winn-Dixie 60 machine to the inside, and much like we're seeing back in the back happen to Ernest Brown, as soon as one car got down there, another one hopped on the bag wagon, and it was the Lone Star Texas Grill machine, the 75 car of Ronald Henry as well. That machine, who started way back in 14th, but was the fastest car in practice. He's able to easily make work at the 55, and he also is going to jump up and he'll take P5 at the racetrack right now. He might also be trying to go after Brian Neff at the moment. So Donnie Moore was well clear by over a second, Sean. Matt Hoos got clear 4/10 of a second, and closing is the gap between P1 and P2 on the racetrack. Your defending series champion come to life tonight.
I'm thinking Hoos is still carrying a chip on his shoulder after last week. He's got to be because, well, that chip is it's getting lighter. Let's put it that way. He has really closed up on Donnie Moore and bringing the fight to him now. Moore is really having a race basically like he hasn't yet. Hoos is just on the charge, and really the only threat to him right now, Tim Knott's falling off pace, but doing a good job of holding on to 3rd, but Brian Neff is coming quick.
And when that 21 gets there, we've seen many times tonight so far, somebody's able to get to them. It takes them about a lap or 2 to set somebody up, but for the most part, if your car's faster than that guy in front of you, you're able to get that wheel a little bit more into it, coming off the corner, get to the inside. That's exactly what the 21 tried to do there. Not quite enough room, and Donnie Moore hangs on for the moment. So there's a part of you that wants to defend that spot, but we've seen quite a little bit of contact tonight, Sean. If that guy's faster, it might be better to get out of his way. Loose that time, though, through 4 to the 21. That Loose drops off a couple of 10s.
Yeah, he does, but now the fight is on behind him here. Tim Knott, Brian Neff, Ronald Henry locked up in a battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And make no mistake, Tim Knott down to the inside, had a little trouble there with the handling. Gives up that spot to Brian Neff, and now on the outside, Henry gets loose, coming off. Not able to hold him off, but Henry looking strong through the turn, able to power his way off the turn, down the back stretch. He's going to get in front of Tim Knott.
And that position going to be already exchanged now side by side for the race lead. And overdriving corner number 4 was Donnie Moore. Number 21 machine was able to get to the inside, and the SPCA New Hampshire 26 tried to fight back, nearly drove it into the outside retaining wall, had to back her down, and that easily allowed that 21 machine of the Caterpillar machine of Matt Hoos to be able to get clear. Now he takes over the race lead in this one, and if he continues at the pace that he was hustling at, no chance for that 26 to try to come back at him. But you take a look at the numbers. Matt Hoos was 6th fastest in practice. Ronald Henry last time with a 24.86. It was a 26.14, and we're saying that Matt Hoos is flying. Ronald Henry in a league of his own right now in the Lone Star Texas Grill 75. Biggest problem for that driver, though, is not only that he started back in 14th, it's taken him a while to get up to 4th where he sits right now, but he's 2.3 seconds off of Matt Hoos, and at 2/10 a lap, not going to have enough time.
Yeah, he's going to run out of time, but I'll tell you what, I was just about to start to talk about Henry. He has really got to Neff here, and he's setting Neff up now for a big move as they go into 1. You can see Henry now is just literally a car length away from the bumper now, and he has pulled this off coming down the back straight. We see Henry here now dip it in low, and he's just making a charge there on the bumper of Brian Neff coming off turn 4. This could be it right here.
And continuing to close in, he's closing in on the back of that 60 machine. Brian Neff started this race in 3rd. That's where he sits right now, the Winn-Dixie 60 machine. Entering tonight, this driver is doing quite well off, and it's about 2 seconds plus. So you can see that the gap goes from 2 seconds down to 2.2 seconds as the intervals scroll across the bottom of your screen there. The 60 is falling off at the top spot, so Ronald Henry really doesn't want to waste a lot of time, try to make quick work as you look on board with his machine, trying to get to the inside on corner exit. Seems to be the key to making a pass tonight.
It really does, and that just seems the way to be Stafford is running tonight, and you hit it right on the nail on the head there. Really tough for Henry now. You almost think he's being maybe held up a little bit. We knew he had the fast pace in practice, and just doesn't seem to have enough to make a move on Neff right now to get around, and that is holding him up in a sense because Moore and Hoos are starting to gap it just a bit. And hey, make no mistake, Donnie Moore is not giving up here. He is just latched onto the bumper of Hoos.
A lot of the time you'll talk to somebody in oval racing and they'll be a race leader and they'll give it away because they just kind of end up in a zombie-like move. There's nothing to look at, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now with Donnie Moore. His lap times were getting absolutely destroyed by Matt Hoos when the 21 was closing in, though, Sean. But now that this 26 is behind him, what he's doing is he's picked up 1 to 2/10 of a second per lap, so he's copying what the 21's doing. It's working for him.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I jumped in there. Henry almost able to make that. Neff left the door open. Henry get down inside, but Neff got a tremendous run and was able to hold on to the position. And here we go, Henry into the turn. Is he going to get him? No, not quite. Neff hangs on.
A lot of the time, again, you'll see they want good exit to make a move inside, but you'll see something that could be key here for this 75 car who sits in 4th is backing up the corner a lot sooner, which means getting onto the binders a little bit quicker, get to the throttle sooner. That could be the biggest thing, but it's no doubt that 60 machine slowed him down. It's not like Brian Neff is off pace, and Ronald Henry, we expect him to just be able to blow by him. That's the bobble. That could be the opening. The 60 car got sideways at a 4, and you're not going to be able to recover from that one. To the inside, and gone goes Ronald Henry. One small slip up and hanging on to 10 laps is futile because now Henry in a 3rd.
Well, Evan, we've been watching these battles so closely. Guess what? The halfway point of this race has slipped past us, and Henry finally pulling off that move. He's got work to do if he's going to get to Donnie Moore. And, again, he was fastest in practice, so we know he knows the way around this track. He's got clean air to work with right now. He does have Neff in his mirror, but I'll tell you what, if Henry just keeps running his line, I don't think Neff has got anything for him, to be honest with you, Evan.
Side by side now for the race lead at 30 laps to go. To the bottom goes Donnie Moore, the 26, who, again, we were just saying was slower by a significant margin to the 21 car. Got behind him, saw what that Caterpillar power plants machine was doing on the racetrack. copied and bested him at it. Now right to the race lead goes Donnie Moore. After starting in 5th, he retains the number 1 spot on the racetrack, and now Matt Hoos back to the drawing board as he tried to look like he'd go for a crossover in quarter number 4, got the car sideways. That's the same thing that we saw Brian Neff do that allowed Ronald Henry to get around him, and because that car got sideways, wasn't able to get back to the gas and unable to really go for that crossover and challenge back again for the top spot on the racetrack. Good battle going on. You're taking a look at right now for P6 on the racetrack. Brad Speidel has it in the number 76 machine in front, and just in front of him you see that 41 machine who has the spot that number 76 is trying to get. That's the 41 of Tim Knott. These two cars doing battle about half a straight behind the leaders.
Yeah, checking back in with Henry here, and he's again, he's starting to pull away from Neff just a little bit, but not really catching those two, and he's running out of time. We're real close to we are. We've got 25 laps to go, Evan.
And somehow, someway, these top 2 on the racetrack just will not leave each other alone. We saw 2 very large caution flags early. Leaders get to work by lap machine the 27, James Summers Jr., who was on his lid in one of those earlier incidents, will now fall to 4 laps into negatives. He got out of their way, but 2 large incidents early, nothing since then. It has been clean and green now to the final 25 laps to go. Down the back straightaway, Matt Hoos took the lead from Donnie Moore. Donnie took it back. Now that 21 is back on the attack and trying to give him something, but the lesser and lesser the lap counter remains, the more aggressive and the more physical this battle may get. They've been clean so far. The 21 a little bit squirrely off of quarter number 2. The leaders, though, getting down to the point in the race where that chrome horn might become more and more viable of an option as they start to run out of opportunities.
Yeah, and you know what? They're gonna have some lap traffic to deal with here. It's gonna play a factor, so they gotta watch out for that. We gotta keep an eye on that.
Lots of battles going on the racetrack. 2 cars up front battling. You got a couple of machines back in the pack as well fighting. We talked about the battle for 5th and 6th. Make it a 3-car fight as Lowell Jewell trying to join that fight. You take a look at them as they cycle at a quarter number 4 past the main grandstand and across the start-finish line as they approach now 23 laps to go, 22 as they complete this lap in the books left in this event. But that 76 car in the middle and the Good Time Ice machine behind him, it's Lowell Jewell, Edge Auto Concepts on board that car, and it's that 41 of Tim Knott, the Century 21 machine. These 3 guys continuing to fall further and further back from the race lead. Typically, you'll see that happen at most when cars are side by side, so evidently these machines don't have the speed to challenge a Donnie Moore or a Matt Hoos, but nonetheless, they continue to fight in their own right, all of those guys within 4/10.
And Evan, here comes Henry. He's coming. He's doing it. He's picking up right now about 0.2 of a second a lap right now. He is finding the speed, and he's got a lap car in front of him, Ernest Brown, to work with here. Ernest getting out of the way, letting him get by, but Henry, does he have enough time, Evan? I think he does, but he's going to have to come quick here.
Had to work around that 8 machine, still gained a 1/10 of a second. You can see the top 3 on the racetrack, down the back straightaway, the blue car, bottom of the screen right now, that's Donnie Moore. Behind him is the 21 of Matt, who's all over the back of him still, and the 3rd car in the picture, the white one, in line there, just in front of a couple of other lap machines. That is Ronald Henry. Another 1/10 of a second off the board. So not only is Matt Hoos all over Donnie Moore, but Sean, second these guys get side by side or really start going at it, they might almost just hand this one away, because here comes Henry, going to be about a second.
And did you see that Hoos was loose coming off? That car nosed in on him there out of 4, man, and almost lost it. Did a great job of holding on to it, but guess what? Advantage Henry. He gets just a little bit closer.
And that's not the first time that the 21 has struggled getting that machine loose, particularly in 4 contact that time. Starting to get physical. That's because Matt Hoos just saw Ronald Henry coming, so he's got to get going.
Here comes Henry. I know we keep talking about it, but this is the battle, guys. Henry is he's found his way to the party here, and it's a good one because Moore and Hoos are getting nervous, and man, there we go, right there. Hoos getting a little bit of the horn on the back of that. Loose off again. Hoos really fighting that machine right now. That SK Modified is a handful for Matt Hoos right now.
And he steps it up the hill again, and Now puts himself so far back he might not be able to get back to Donnie Moore before Ronald Henry gets to him. The 21 with the bump and run a couple of times, but now he catches the fence at a quarter 4. Big thing that Caterpillar Power Plants machine is starting to do, Sean, is he's cheating that apron. You see the very light asphalt where there's no rubber down there below the bottom seam of the racetrack in the corners. He's starting to cheat that car down there. That's where the back end's stepping out, and that nose of the machine keeps diving into the corner. You see it every single time out of quarter number 4. Here comes Ronald Henry to the inside. 21 shuts the door. Contact up and hard into the wall goes Matt Hoos. The 60 of Brian Neff is involved, and we're going to have a shootout in under 10 laps to go in this race. Wow.
Well, I mean, you got to just look at where that started. It started going into one there, and Henry had. I just don't know if it was there, but man, that was enough contact to send Hoos just spinning right up into the wall, and he hit it hard, Evan, really hard. That car went right immediately.
He got the contact, it was sideways, and as soon as he tried to overcorrect, the machine snapped up the hill and he hit it flat on the driver's side door, then got nailed by the 60 of Brian Neff and immediately took a tow to pit road. Matt Hoos, his night essentially is done. What looked like was going to be such a great resurgence race weekend for that machine after having a poor start to the 2015 Season 3 campaign 1 week ago, Sean, is only going to be just a bigger hole after 2.
You know, and I sit here and I think about what just happened, and I know, Lowell and the guys, they do a good job of policing the league, and I just wonder if, we might see an infraction there for rough riding. I don't want to make the call, but I got to tell you that will probably come under examination. I certainly know that Matt Hoos is probably not very happy right now. Again, I just don't know that he had the spot, but that was a bad time for that to happen. But like you said, we're going to have to get back to racing here. Ronald Henry's got a race to win. Donnie Moore, he's going to have to get through him to do it. Donnie's been awful fast tonight, but we'll get restarted here with, like you said, Evan, a great shootout. We can't give up on Brad Speidel either. Speidel will be in this hunt. Lowell Jewell looking pretty good there, sitting in 4th place. Lowell could be a factor before this thing is over.
The bad news for that 60 of Brian Neff, who was 4th, is, again, he did come into the side of Matt Hoos after that car was stopped at a racetrack, so he did have to come down to pit road. He will drop to 8th in the standings. We do have 9 drivers on the lead lap. You see them all tick by on the bottom of your screen. The current standings: Donnie Moore, Ronald Henry, Brad Speidel, Lowell Jewell, and Tim Knott, the top 5 in this one. Typically, now we'll start to talk about who inside the top 3 is going to get it, Sean, but after what we saw 2 times at the start of this race, this could still be anybody's race into the final possible restart in this event.
Yeah, it could. I mean, the restart's going to be critical. I mean, Donnie Moore has really got a chance here to set the tone. I expect he'll be on that accelerator very, very quickly, and Ronald Henry is got his work cut out for him. He's going to have just over 5 laps to get it done, and we'll see. We'll see how well Donnie Moore plays defense here tonight, Evan.
I can tell you that he'll try, and that 26 is going to be very wide. So the outside did not work at all. It worked once, but still, you got to think that you want to be on the bottom of the racetrack. The 26 of Donnie Moore will lead us back to the green flag. 7 laps to go. Early caution would still give us another late race shootout. The pace car down and away, possibly the final time tonight. Donnie Moore in control of the field, going for the checkered flag. The accelerator, green flag flies across the start-finish line. We're back underway. Great start for the 26, but here comes Ronald Henry to the bottom.
Yeah, he put it in there low and then just took it right out of there hard on the pedal. But Moore is now, he's got a mirror full of Ronald Henry. Gonna have to watch out. Everybody else here at the back of the pack so far keeping him in line, looking clean. Tim Knott having a little trouble coming off the turn there, got the car loose.
Contact between the 41 and the 16, and he'll hang on to it as he's down into the grass. No caution, we stay green this time by 5 laps to go. From here on out, a caution flag would end this race. So Ronald Henry thankful that the 41 was able to hang on to it. He needs to do something with Donnie Moore. He's got to do it quickly. Although a caution would end it, he doesn't want to get to a yellow and not even get a shot at him. The 75 now tags the wall at a quarter two. The gap's still 1.5 car lengths.
Ryan Nuss takes away third place from Lowell Jewell. Lowell was doing all he could to hang on to it, just couldn't quite pull it off. And now Lowell gives up another position to David Bodio. Bodio takes that away from him. And the yellow flag is out, Evan. That's the end of our race.
Caution back in the pack, trouble down through 1 and 2, and the caution will fly from the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway. This race will end after a huge incident. James Summers Jr., for the second time tonight, is top face down after contact on the front straightaway. Caught the outside retaining wall, and you see the back half of the incident there. Two wheels up on the fence, and he did a flip back end into the fence and came to a rest on all fours, but a single car incident is what is going to be the preventing factor that does not allow Ronald Henry to even take a shot at Donnie Moore. Popsicle sticks in the air this time by under the caution flag, and as long as that 26 machine can pace for 2 more laps, it'll be a checkered flag for Donnie Moore.
You know, Evan, actually, Summers was in front of that. It happened that the caution came from just behind him. Dennis Ellis gets a little touch there from Ernest Brown, and it spins Ellis around, and the field behind him, everybody making an evasive move there. I think that's really where our caution flag started, and I think Summers kind of finished it off there. But yeah, that's unfortunate that we end that way. But man, that was a great race. Great job by Donnie Moore to hold off Ronald Henry.
Yeah, Ellis went into the grass and his car never went all the way around, so may not have triggered the yellow. And then for all we know, James Summers Jr. is looking in the mirror at the wreck, ends up scaling the fence, and that's how his night comes to a close. Started on his lid and ends on his lid. Tough night for the first time out for the 27 car. The white flag is in the air. It's going to be Donnie Moore for the first time on the year, and he won again just a couple of moments ago before we went on air tonight. He will be the Race 2 winner, not only in the Crookstill Late Model Series from Stafford Springs, but a winner in Season 3. Checkered flag will fly along with a caution at a quarter number 4 from 5th to 1st. Sweep the evening, checkered flag, and the win to the number 26 of Donnie Moore. He'll finish P1 in the Edge Auto Concepts 75. Strong run. It looked like it was his to lose, and then here came Ronald Henry. Donnie's able to hold him off on a crucial late race restart to coast to the win.
Solid race, and congratulations again to Donnie Moore. Great run for newcomer David Bodio, who manages to come home in 4th tonight, Evan.
Bodio will be in a 4th position tonight, and the other new driver, James Summers Jr., 4 laps and negatives in 14th. The drivers that did not finish on the lead lap include Dennis Ellis, Philip Temples, Matt Chinoski, James Summers Jr., Matt Hoos, and Mike Holloway. Hoos for the second week in a row. A disappointing start to his defensive attempts in his championship hopes. He'll finish 15th tonight as well, but Donnie Moore takes home the cake at the end of the night. He celebrates on the front straightaway. The SPCA New Hampshire number 26 car takes home the Edge Auto Concept 75 in race 2 of 11 in the 2015 Season 3 title with the Bootleg Racing League's Outlaw Modified Series. As he rolls that machine to the infield Gatorade victory lane, we'll step away for the only time tonight here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Get some of these drivers rounded up and get your own with the post-race show in just a couple of moments. We'll be back for the virtual Motor Speedway in just a couple of moments. Back live at the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway in Stafford Springs, Connecticut on the Global Sim Racing Channel. You're watching our continuing coverage of the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series 2015 Season 3 Championship, where tonight, Round 2, the Edge Auto Concept 75, already in the books. It was Donnie Moore who went to victory lane after starting in 5th. He finishes at the top of the pile. Ronald Henry comes home second. Third position to Ryan Nuss. 4th place was David Bedoe, and Lowell Jewelshawn rounded out the top 5.
Yeah, and in 6th place, Brad Spottle brings the number 76 home in 6th. Jeff Rudolph in 7th tonight, and number 12, Tim Knott. Had a rough night, man. He was in the mix, it seemed like, the whole night. 8th place for Tim tonight. Ernest Brown, another guy who kind of just slided back through the pack. Rough night, but manages to finish on the lead lap in 9th. Brian Neff rounds out the cars on the lead lap in 10th. Dennis Ellis comes home in 11th, 2 laps down. Philip Temples in a number 19 brings it home in 12th. Matt Chinaski, last week's winner, has a rough night. He finishes 13th, 3 laps down. James Summer Jr., newcomer to the track tonight, he finishes 14th. Matt Hoos, we know what happened, and he tumbles again, and he's down in 15th tonight. Mike Holloway finishes out the field 16 strong tonight. He takes home that 16th spot, Evan.
So your pole sitter at the end of the night ends up at the bottom of the pile. We've caught up with the driver, though, that finished in the positive when it was all said and done. Down on the pit lane, caught up with the driver of the number 13 machine, Ryan Nuss. Ryan, you guys started this race in 7th. You come home in 3rd, but for a car that was only 15th on the board in practice, got to be a good result after you guys stole that podium spot on that final restart.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of luck. Started off really bad with the accident, but I thought it was done for since we just kept going green. Thankfully for that yellow flag, helped me out.
You guys didn't quite have the result you would have been looking for earlier this evening in the Crooksteel Late Model Series. That one ended up as a P12. But being able to find a success here late in these SKs for a 75-lap racing, and that's what we get everywhere in every single race. But it seemed like this one, somebody would be able to make a pass on somebody. They could learn from that and pick up speed as the night progressed. Was that maybe the case with that 13 machine navigating around this very flat and, for some guys, a very loose racetrack?
Yeah, it was very loose. I got behind in that first accident. I got behind a lot of lap cars because they came out of the pits too early. And so I pretty much burned up my tires, so I was just pretty much trying to hang on the whole way.
Well, you were able to peak at the best point and you come home on the podium in the second race of the championship. We know it's still early, but going forward for the first time in the official side of things, you guys are going to be heading to the new to the iRacing.com service, Five Flag Speedway. Excited to be going to Pensacola. Have you put in many laps there, and if so, how you feeling?
No, I haven't put too many laps in, but I do enjoy the track. The little bit I have been on it, I can't say that I've done the SKs there yet. I believe I've done only the super late, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, we wish you the best of luck into round 3 of the championship next week, Ryan. Though, before we let you go here on the podium tonight, anybody you want to thank while we got you?
Yeah, just a shout out to my girlfriend and our 2 kids.
All right, well, it's a podium for you guys tonight, Ryan. You guys go enjoy that. Enjoy the week off. We'll see you next Saturday night from Pensacola.
All right, thank you.
That again is the driver that comes home in 3rd tonight in the Edge Auto Concept 75, Ryan Nuss, with a podium in the number 13 SK Modified. A little bit further the other direction down pit lane in the 14th pit stall, caught up with the driver of the number 75, Ronald Henry, is Sean Ambrose. Sean, this is a driver that ended up way in the positive, but he feels like maybe it should have been a little bit more.
Well, Ronald, you put in a lot of hard work tonight to bring that Lone Star Texas Grill SK Modified all the way to the front to come up just a little bit short, but you got to feel pretty good about that run. How are you feeling right now, Ronald?
I have mixed emotions. It's a great second place, but with a black eye, I'm really not happy with how I got second by touching Matt. Coming out of 4, I saw him twitched, even going towards the wall, so I misjudged my run on him and tried to brake when I saw he was coming down, and it locked him up instead of making the corner, and I wrecked him, and I feel really bad about that.
Well, Ronald, hey, it's racing, man, and we saw the same thing up here at a little bit of a misjudgment. But hey, listen, you still bring the car home in second tonight. It's a great start to the season in race 2 to be up here on the podium and get those second place points. Matt's a great driver. I'm sure he'll make a charge back to the front here before it's all said and done with. But again, you got to be happy with the second place. A great start to the season. What do you think about Five Flags? How many laps have you put down there yet?
Yes, I maybe done 5 or 6 races at most in different cars. Never twice in the same car. So I like it. It's a little technical coming out of 4 again. It's really tricky. 1 and 2 is sort of a standard corner, but 3 and 4 it can be a little tricky. It's a little slippery out there.
Well, it sounds like you'll have your hands full, but before we let you go ahead and let us know who you'd like to thank tonight for this run here in round 2 tonight.
Yeah, well, of course, the Lone Star Texas Grill, just out of headquarters out of Ottawa, Canada. Big thank you for the sponsorship. Again, we seem to repeat ourselves, but I mean, Matt and Lowell, they put a lot of effort into this. You guys, I'm just happy to be here. I missed race 1, but hey, that was already planned. I was going to miss that race, but I'm glad to be back.
Well, it's great to have you back, and we look forward to seeing you at Five Flags next week, buddy. Travel safe, and we'll see you then.
All right, man. Thanks.
Well, Evan, we're going to hand it back to you. I believe you have made it down to Victory Lane, and you are joining up with our winner tonight. Go for it.
It's his, super late model machine that's not all that far away because he was in Victory Lane earlier tonight. The winner in both the Crookstill Late Model Series and as well the Bootleg Racing League's Outlaw Modified Series main event tonight. Donnie Moore taking home the checkered flag from a P5 starting position. Donnie, first off, congratulations on both wins this evening. We got to watch this second one here. Quite an interesting race. There were points where you were the fastest car on the racetrack. There were points where Ronald Henry was flying up to you guys. There were points where the 20-wooter Matt Hoos was the fastest car on the racetrack. So much unlike what we saw last week, which was a dominating performance out of Matt Chudowski's camp tonight, you had to work for this one, especially hanging on there for a late race restart. Walk us through this entire one from behind the wheel of that 26.
Yeah, boy, I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I did. This was a blast. Once I got out in the lead there, I thought I was building quite a lead, and I started to take it a little easy, and boy, before I know it, Matt was right there, Matt Hoos, and him and I tangled for a while. He got by me there for a while, and he had one little bobble. I was able to get back by him, and then it was on.
And there, especially coming down to the end, the 75 of Ronald Henry coming up and closing in on the battle that was between you and the 21 for the majority of the latter half of this race. He's picking off a 10th to 2/10 a lap. So the big thing that you guys were working was the gap you had. That was eliminated once we came down to that final late race restart. And obviously a caution flag coming out late and cut this one about 3 laps short, but you got cleared on the restart, which was the big thing, being the control car, but you were able to hold them off on sheer speed. Where'd you find those couple of extra hundredths or so there at the end to make sure you kept that machine in the front?
Boy, I don't know. It's like driving on ice there after 70 laps or so, I'll tell you what. But, boy, you know what? I haven't won an SK race since January. The snow is up to my nose, so I'm really happy about this one. Almost 6 months to the day where I finally won one of these.
The first win in these modifieds in quite some time, and you doubled down tonight with the late model and these modifieds. So it's safe to say that you like the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway. The question becomes, do you like the Five Flag Speedway, because that's where the series is going to be visiting for the first time next week?
Yeah, as you guys know, it's a new track, so I don't have a whole lot of seat time on there, but Jesus, there's a lot of fast guys here, so it's always a battle.
Well, you're going to go into that one looking to go back-to-back, and you'll be about mid-pack from the grid-in version from the win tonight, Donnie. Before we let you go, as always, sponsors and shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for a great run tonight?
Well, definitely shout-out to BRL, Bootleg Racing, Lowell, and Matt. They put on a fine show. My wife upstairs, and hey, if I can speak for the animals, support all your animal shelters. And also, it's great to have you guys back here for a second season.
That is your winner, Donnie Moore. Donnie, again, thanks for talking with us. Congratulations. Best of luck. We'll see you in Pensacola.
Thanks, Evan. See you guys.
It is the number 26 SPCA New Hampshire machine in Victory Lane tonight at Stafford Motor Speedway. Donnie Moore ends up victorious, John. Martinsville was great. It was exciting, but I'll tell you, this is going to be one of the wilder races we have seen in a long time. A lot of cars up in the air, flipping, a couple of big wrecks, a lot of lead changes, and a final race restart. I don't think there's anything left unchecked on that one. This was a complete package race.
It certainly was, and as we have come to find out now through over a season of broadcasting with these guys, they bring it, and they bring it hard every week, and the Chrome Horn is famous on these modifieds, and these guys have embraced that spirit. And tonight we did cover the gamut, as you said, and another great race here in the Bootleg Racing Series. And again, big congratulations to Donnie Moore. Really had that car hooked up tonight. Again, Ronald Henry, just a great run coming all the way from 14th tonight. We saw it all. We saw another great one. And next week we get to debut a new track, and I think that is going to just ratchet this up a whole nother level of it. Can't wait to get to Five Flags.
Once it was announced that the home of the Snowball Derby would be coming to iRacing, a lot of hype around it. It is a bad, fast racetrack, and we for sure look forward to that one. So this was a very flat and, not really a smaller end of the spectrum, but, this racetrack by no means is overly large. It's half a mile in length, so we're going to go to a similarly distanced, I guess, Five Flag Speedway, but the racing could be very different, Sean. Instead of being flat and low banked, it's going to be very wide and a lot of banking. It's going to be a big bowl that they're going to be shooting these SKs down to in the corners. What are we looking forward to going into Five Flags?
Well, I think, I think based on just the three drivers we just surveyed, I think we're going into the unknown here. It doesn't sound like everybody has a lot of seat time here yet. So as we head to Five Flags, there's a big question mark. How are these guys going to run? There just hasn't been enough time for these guys on this track. It hasn't been around long enough for everyone to put in. Let's face it, most of the tracks these guys run are stalwarts on iRacing. So that will be the big unknown next week. How will these drivers perform on a new track, and will they be able to control it? Will they be able to tame it and reel it in?
If it's anything like tonight, although we don't know how it's going to play out, we can guarantee you that it's going to be a pretty exciting race going forward with these guys. If it's loose, they're just going to be digging that much harder to try to figure things out. And we look forward to round 3 on the championship next week here on the Global Sim Racing channel. As we step away and put round 2 now behind us, want to thank all of the people that make the broadcast end of things possible. Not only everybody tuning in, but as well some of the technical equipment that allow us to do what we do. Of course, iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations for the great platform that they provide us with, and the new track that we'll be going to next week at Five Flag Speedway. As well, a big thank you to XSplit, free and easy live streaming and recording, the Audio Technica Corporation, and Aver Media USA. Additional thanks, as always, go to Dougie Beard for providing us with our camera sets and music, to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde for providing us with the music that you hear through the broadcast. Their contact information is up on the screen. Let them know where you heard their stuff. As well, stay up to date with everything GSRC for a wide variety of racing on the web. You can go to us online at globalsimracingchannel.com, on our Twitter at GSR Channel, and through Facebook and social media at facebook.com/the Global Sim Racing Channel. The bootleggers are off for 7 days until next Saturday night, but there is a whole lot of action throughout the next 6 days, Sean.
Boy, there sure is, Evan, and we're going to get ready to crank it up here this week on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Tomorrow, Sunday, July the 19th, 1:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Absolute Beginners at Summit Speedway. And on Monday, July 20th, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the return of the AMG Sports Car Challenge with the Autobahn Motor Car Group. Season 2, Round 8 at Motegi. We'll take the trip over to Japan. On Wednesday, we're going to stay at Motegi, 9:50 Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, July 22nd. Champion Motorsports Sprint Series 2015 Season 3, Round 1 as they kick it off here on GSRC. And then Wednesday is the big night. We're going to stay on Wednesday. We got double duty Wednesday night here on the Global Sim Racing Channel, July 22nd. this Wednesday, 10:35 Eastern Standard Time, the return and premiere of the Lionheart Racing Series Season 2 opener at Homestead with you and me, Evan. Got a big one coming up there. And then next Saturday, where are we going to be here with the Bootleggers again?
We will be at the home of the Snowball Derby. The Five Flags Speedway, Pensacola, Florida, new to the iRacing.com sim, will play host to round 3 in the 2015 Season 3 Championship with the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series. As always, you can catch all of that action here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Saturday, July 25th. Start time just past 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Do it again. Thank everybody for making all of this possible. And as we send off for the night on behalf of everybody on the broadcast team tonight, alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, and our director, Kevin Brown, want to wish again a big congratulations to Donnie Moore and a big thank you to Edge Auto Concepts for being the title sponsor in tonight's Edge Auto Concept 75. Check them out online for your specialists in automotive identity design at edgeautoconcepts.com. Until then, good night for the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you in Pensacola, Florida next Saturday night, only at Five Flags Speedway and only on the Global Sim Racing channel.